And welcome back to the Sleeping Grush podcast. I'm Matt.
And I am still John.
John, you're going to be John for a while.
Without an intro with me.
We got this outro thing taken care of.
We do.
But the intros.
Still out there. Still a model to be had.
All right. Yeah. Sleeping Grush podcast on the Discord, the channel on the Discord.
Yeah.
Make sure that folks are putting their ideas.
If you suggest an intro for me to replace I'm Still John for the podcast, you get a model.
We need that. Because, I wake up at night saying I'm still John. And
you need help, buddy. Yeah, so tell us about episode 11. Oh, no, tell us about Cardboard Corner.
Actually, let's talk about Cardboard Corner Cafe, our wonderful sponsor in the middle of beautiful Overland Park, Kansas. If you're ever in the Kansas City area, need a place to hang out, have some amazing bespoke waffles, get a good drink.
Bespoke.
It's a great word, isn't it?
It is. I finally learned what it meant last week. I'm technically a boomer, I guess. I just stepped over the line so I can give, Gen Xers a finger, but I'm not part of them,
Right. So I'll get off my lawn from here on out.
It is. It was that way before.
If you are ever in the Kansas City area and would like a place to game, get a great waffle, get a great drink, Cardboard Corner Cafe is your place.
The place.
And very soon coming to the Public Commons at Lenexa, which will be fantastic. So the folks over on the west side can get their game on and get their waffle on as well. So thank you, as always, to Cardboard Corner Cafe. So, episode 11. We're into the double digits now. It's crazy. Our lovely fans have allowed us to do this. We really thank you all for that.
They are awesome.
They are awesome.
I thanked them the other day on Discord.
Did you?
You see that? Yeah, I'll point you to it. Yeah, we were having a work session at the headquarters. It was late at night. We had all these tasks to do. Work. And I just took a break to drive around Discord. And I thought all the different, diverse things. Different play groups, because I have a whole list groups of channels. You got Patreon subscribers. You got people talking about list building. You got people asking rules questions. Work on the campaign. And I just had to say, this is why it's worth it doing all this work, right? These great fans. So yes,
that is awesome, and it is really cool. Like you said, every once in a while you get a spare moment, just a downtime to kind of just see the totality of everything that's going on Discord.
It's growing all the time.
It is growing. It's growing huge. Yeah. And, it's real easy to get caught up in one thing or in one channel where you're involved in a conversation. But if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it is amazing, everything that's going on. So thank you all for being who you are and doing what you do and making our game amazing.
Just be careful out there, because there's dice math this week.
Yeah, I just steer away from that because my eyes glaze. I kind of roll back into my head.
I will say this: our policy is we don't get in dice math discussions anymore. We get in point value discussions, but there's some nuggets in there.
Sure.
So just be careful where you step.
All right. Before we get on to our main topic today, we are going to talk about some of our upcoming events. Some of the things that are on the schedule that we'd like to give a shout out to. And we're going to start with a charity tournament in Davenport, Iowa. Our good friend Tyler Beal.
Games Plus
up
One.
There. Games Plus
One. The great Dave the Great at Games Plus One. We saw them at LVO.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Good.
We saw Darren and Dave. We didn't see Tyler.
Oh, I didn't know Darren was over there. That's cool.
Playing some other game. But, it's America.
Sure. So one downfall of that whole American thing is that people can play games
over life choices or game choices.
So there's a charity tournament going on the 17th of February. Fantastic cause. And there's some great raffles involved, some wonderfully painted miniatures. The great thing is that you can buy some raffle tickets and you don't have to be there to win. So if you can't haul it over to Davenport, Iowa.
You could also, you're right, you can support Hayden by playing the raffle from a distance.
Absolutely.
And possibly win some really cool stuff.
Right, which is a fantastic thing. Now, you can find information about this in a couple different places. First, on the Pre-Blaze Players channel on Facebook, but also on the tournament announcements on Discord.
Yep.
And that seems to be kind of the central place. Facebook has been very, very helpful over time, but it's starting to wane because we have such a thriving Discord community. And most of the information about tournaments and that sort of thing are going on to Discord. So if you haven't yet, check out the tournament announcements channel on Discord.
Right.
And you can find some information about this amazing charity tournament that's going on the February.
Yeah, the charity is a young girl named Hayden with a version of leukemia. It's survivable, but there's expenses.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean,
and so we're all here to support her.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, the second one we want to talk about is another tournament on the 17th of February. 17th of February seems to be a popular day, right? And this one's going on in mid-Michigan. And you can also find information about this on Facebook and again on the Discord. And this one is going to be interesting because it's a follower tournament.
Right.
So, John, tell me a little bit about a follower tournament.
So, if I have the format correctly, I'm 90% sure I do. You have to have a leader. Mm-hmm. You could have a caster or a bard, right? Not both. You don't have to. You have to have a leader. And then no heroes besides those and no artifacts. So it's all a leader, maybe a caster, a bard, and all followers.
And you just get a bunch of followers running around.
Yes.
And you played this format before?
I have. And run them both. Right. I've run more of them I played in. But the trickiness to it, of course, is, followers, their characteristic is they have like a 1 life point.
Right.
Right. And typically low stats, and that includes discipline. So if you pick one off out of the middle of a crowd, they may all run.
Right.
So keeping them near your leader and doing other things to make that less dangerous. Of course, what's probably shooting at them is also a follower. So it's shenanigans.
Right.
But there's some D8 archers out there that are followers, and different players have different, obviously different list building strategies. There's the defenders, from Trillius dropping out of trees every turn.
Right.
Looking at you, Chris Jackson. and Andrew. I think Andrew's something else, Andrew Potter. There's, how many, muster archers can I fit? All of them.
Right.
But there's also, somebody has a whole bunch of followers and the other person has just a handful of legionnaires. Well, that can be scary.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's a lot of theories about it. I think it's balanced. I'm biased by that, but I think it's balanced. But it's fun because there's no big, heavy, there's always Zalakar stomping around. Right. Or there is, and everything else is scrod. And you just, feed it a couple and you solve it with the follower part of the list. So it's just fun. It's meant to be fun. And a different take. You need to do different things you do in a normal game.
Right.
So you kind of got to take that into account. And that kind of twist on it is a nice break.
Yeah.
And it makes for really fun stories, to have these B6 long knife people running around,
and be the heroes of your game.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, if you can't get over to mid-Michigan, that information is up on Discord and on Facebook. That promises to be a really good time. The final tournament that we want to talk about real quick is our Adepticon North American Championship Tournament. There are still 4 seats left.
28 of 32, right?
28 of 32 signed up. Going to be a fantastic tournament. Going to be a huge tournament. Going to be absolute tons of fun. We've got a big announcement right after it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We've got a couple things happening there. We're going to kick off the new tournament season plan. Obviously, that stuff will go online that day, so people don't get to go to. I always try to be understanding. Of course, it applies to me this year, but a person that can't make these bigger events and watching all the chatter and talk about them. So, for example, the stuff that goes on sale at Adepticon, the store goes live that weekend.
Right.
When the folks at the Adepticon tournament get the announcement on the new tournament season, the moment it's over, that packet goes up, everybody can see it, the same day. So we're looking at all that. But also, in addition to the tournament, the other goodness about being there is there are some things happening with what we're going to make available for purchase at Adepticon that I don't think people realize are coming.
Right.
Discussion we had last night you weren't part of, but we're going to talk about later.
That's probably good.
Probably good, right? So I can just act like, I have some secret.
I don't know.
You don't?
John does have a
not,
secret.
right? I didn't know until yesterday.
And we're just going to turn off the recording. He's
we're going to come back. I'll tell you a little bit over scotch. So it's
that idea,
right? It's this one, the ones that follow using the tournament packet that we give out to everybody starting that afternoon that lasts for a year from this March to next March. We'll have a theme and specialized rules that you play along with, and we'll do that every year from Adepticon to Adepticon.
Right.
This Adepticon's tournament is just before that happens.
Right.
And so it's 250, 3 rounds, with a cut, no big, 3 or 4 rounds. I have to look again. well, on one day, and then I cut for, the top players for the second day, without it, just, scenarios out of the book, right?
Standard stuff.
No theming, no theme rules. Just bring your 250. It's 250, not 275.
Right.
It's only 6 heroes max. And you bring that list and you play. And it's going to be, like you said last time, also master crafters. So we're going to see some great tables. We're going to see great display boards. We're going to see great free bands. So it's going to be, and we're going to find out, who gets the SARS Cup.
Right. And one of the things you get to do.
And Roger, if you're listening, remember to bring it.
That's a good idea, Roger. Maybe I should. I was talking to him earlier. Maybe I should remind him. Hey, just pack that now.
I'm not saying we talked last time about the cup. The fact that it's a cheesy, deliberately cheesy, tournament cup. It may or may not be true that one with the Osiris Cup plate is sitting in my Amazon list. So if some knucklehead doesn't bring it to Adepticon, I can press a button. But I think we can count on Roger to bring it with him.
I'm sure he seems like a responsible.
He does, uncharacteristically for our so responsible. So I'm not looking at Jagger. I'm not.
No.
Yeah.
Just glancing.
So,
all right, and we do have a new thing this year at Adepticon where we'll be doing a player's choice on the best painted single model as well.
Right.
So that's
all the other
the
categories.
Right.
Just going to let the players vote.
Right, and we talked fully about that in episode 10 of the Sleeping Grush podcast.
Yes, we did.
And so if you haven't checked that out, although I've been looking at our analytics, and a lot of people have checked that out.
Awesome. Okay.
Appreciate that, guys, a whole lot. All right, get that out of the way. Let's segue a little bit here. Change course. We have a very thriving hobby community within the Free Blades DGS games family. We have several pages on our Discord channels on our Discord that are devoted completely to terrain making, painting, all the processes that go into painting, techniques, that sort of thing, 3D printing. The volume side is huge, and we try to help that along as much as we can. We put out guides for conversions. We put out painting guides, especially if you're a Patreon subscriber. You get the painting guides, all of the painting guides. But John, you have a corner on this as a secret weapon for your hobby.
I'm sure I know how secret it is.
And I thought as we were talking about topics for today, one of the things that struck me was we've got all these folks out here that painting miniatures is part of.
We are a model manufacturer. Crazy, but it's true. Yes.
It is, and most folks like to bring painted miniatures to the table. And in fact, at Adepticon, by Adepticon rules, if you play in a tournament, you have to have painted miniatures.
Yes,
that is a rule for Adepticon.
Yeah.
So
we do bend it, right? If we want to
bend
encourage,
is a good word.
But the thing about it is that if you create the right atmosphere, you don't have to bend your rule.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. What we love about many things we've said about our fans is that we don't really have to work too hard, to make a thing. Nobody's getting over it. If we have someone works really hard on their Adepticon free band, they paint it, they model it, they work on it for months, and they bring it to the con, and somebody decides to jump in the tournament last minute with stuff that they put in the bases last night in their hotel room, the player with the work put into this thing is welcoming the player because they want the new player to join the group.
That's absolutely 100%.
And that's not true of all communities.
It's anti-true.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go there, even though I agree with Matt. I'm not going to go there. So,
and we've seen that.
Yes,
we saw at Gen Con last year a guy and his two sons who were feverishly putting together figures so they could jump into the tournament.
The way it's going to get easier this year. We're going to talk about that later. Yeah,
I can't wait to.
Matt doesn't even know, so it's going to be great. But the best part of that is the lack of resentment and recrimination from the existing players. They're telling, do it. Have this person join us. Yeah. And not only telling us it's okay. Yeah, they don't I had to work so hard. They wanted to work hard, right? So it's not a big deal. And if they're competing in the Master Crafter, the person with the unpainted stuff isn't competing against them.
That's right.
So it's not a thing there. And they have new players join the community, which they want. But also, they're welcoming of those players who obviously don't have any significant experience.
Right.
So they're joining a tournament, a very competitive tournament, and the people that they're playing are like, they really want to be the top player. They really want to win the whole thing. But when they're playing that person with that brand new freebie, they're not taking advantage of it.
No.
They're teaching.
They're teaching. It's a teaching game.
They're welcoming, and we get comments about it all the time. And I tell you, I'm going to be not fun on the first person who breaks those ranks because we have a tradition of it,
I think that's the bedrock of our community.
It is. I agree. It's a bedrock indicator of a wide range of good things about it.
Yeah,
I agree with that. So secret weapon.
So John's secret weapon. We just kind of divested there for a moment.
We did.
That's all right. But yes, what is your secret weapon? What is?
I know what you do. Let me just tell the story.
Tell it.
Tell it. Okay. So Matt just said, really interesting. What he just said was that the Free Blades, the DGS community, the Phelan community, has a big modeling component to it. In all the different ways. And of course, that would make sense because we're a model maker.
Yeah, we're miniatures makers.
And we're miniatures gamers at our core, the people on the team. But also, just because it's relevant to this particular discussion, so is Kansas City, right? I would tell you that having been around the block a little bit and also having lived here for a long time, although I'm not a native, you would be hard-pressed to find a community, like a geographical community, across all the different games, not just us, but all the games that are out there, like Games Workshop and Warlord and, all these other things that are miniatures games where you're painting your models, right? The Kansas City community is known for people with achievements in terms of winning awards, Golden Demons, Crystal Brushes, and all these things.
Right.
And just how welcoming they are in terms of, I'm not the greatest painter in the world, but everything I really learned, I learned here.
Right.
I thought I learned a few things before I got here and I was wrong. So it's a big deal here. And the reason why that plays is because what Matt's referring to as a secret weapon, which I really don't think is a secret, but we'll see. Several years ago, a good friend who's played some Free Blades, but is also in a number of communities, very, everybody loves him, Brian. Right.
Not just played some Free Blades, but is the
he's the
face of the cryo.
He's the face of the cryo.
He's the bryomancer.
The bryomancer. Yeah. So Brian and a couple of folks, Rob Baker and Pat Chambers, good friends of ours. Pat painted a lot of the initial display models that you see photographs of in our store, or that you see in the cases.
We still have quite a few of his figures in there.
Very, very accomplished painter. Very, very talented. They were in a conversation about painter's block, modeler's block, artist's block, where you just don't have your paint mojo. You come home after work and you really want to have that squat. We don't have video here yet, but Matt's raising his hand. So, and you're just not motivated to do it, even though you really want to, and you want to have your painted models for whatever the next event is. And you just, I just can't get motivated for it. And they had tried various things in the past, and we're all part of that same group, that paints whatever we paint. I paint a lot of things, Free Blades included, and so do they. And their answer that's relevant to this discussion, their thing, was a thing called #HobbyStreak. Mm-hmm. And what the rules came to be morphed over time, like tribal knowledge. It's not written anywhere, right? It's not the Constitution.
They had to grow.
We did have to grow a little bit. Yes, we did. That you try to keep a streak of at least 30 minutes a day on your hobby alive. And you post on our mutual group. It's a Facebook group in this case, Mokia Miniatures Painters. You post each day what you accomplished in a photograph of it,
And your updated tag.
And your day, whatever. Yeah. #HobbyStreak day 17. Whatever. And then what we're working on to help you motivate to keep doing this. So I learned about it a few days after they started in December of 2017. Okay. That's going to become relevant in a minute.
It's relevant.
So I'm not sure the number, but I'm just going to look at my phone. But in December of 17, I learned about it a few days after they start. And it's a great idea. I was having the same kind of, paint challenges, getting those doldrums. What do I do about it? I actually was throwing money at part of my problem. I got a big appetite for painted models in different games. I want to paint all my own Free Blade stuff. Maybe not every captain's thing, but all the things I'm playing with that are like free bands,
Right.
free blades. But other things I'm doing, I was like having other people paint it or do whatever, paying for it. And I didn't want to do that anymore if I could get away with it. And I really wanted to have all my own stuff. And I wanted to get out of this funk. And they were, offering a suggestion. So I jumped on it and I started my streak. And then I got competitive.
Not you.
So yeah.
Somebody didn't tell you couldn't do
So then I'm a few days in, and the original 3, after, I don't know, I'm guessing, I could go back and look, obviously, but some number of weeks in, 2 or 3 weeks in, everybody's had to restart except the 3 of them. And I haven't either, but I'm behind them, right? Because I started behind them. And I'm like, all right, now it's a puzzle, right? So I said there's 2 fundamental things that's going to derail someone's streak. And it wasn't that would derail mine. There were other reasons other people were doing it. I'm in a comfortable situation. I got my own hobby space. I'm older, so I have some advantages other people don't have, and I recognize that. But for me, and these 2 things would apply to most people, illness and travel were going to be challenges, right? If you just were sick, or you're in the hospital or whatever, or a loved one was in the hospital, that was going to be a challenge. And if you went on a trip, you don't have your stuff with you. Well, so I set out to quietly, I didn't say anything to anybody, right? I built a paint kit for my first business trip. And sure enough, over the course of the first, I want to say 6 months, each of the 3 people ahead of me had some reason why they broke their streak. And I did not let business trips or vacation travel interfere with mine. I had a kit already set, and I just stayed at it. I didn't come home and go, half an hour. I don't even want to do that much. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it late at night. I have that advantage too. As Matt knows, I don't sleep.
Yeah.
So
John has an issue.
Right. So I have more hours in a day than most people. It's not fair. I will die earlier, but I don't really care about 90 to 95. So it's no big deal to me. That's what everybody says. Oh, you're shaving so many years off your life. Yeah, but which ones, right? So, I'm not sure I give a crap about those. So I did have some advantages. Absolutely true. It's, we could talk about, where the streak is now, but obviously I came in with some built-in bonuses other people don't have, available to them. So today, I check.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Let's roll that up.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. So I'm in between somewhere around day 2000. Actually, I think around day 1000, if I remember correctly. I stopped counting every day. I just thought it got a little obnoxious to post. Today is day 1124. The next day 1125. It's like poking the eye. So just to keep my own thing straight, I set it for 10 days. Mm-hmm. Every 10 days I show the day. Otherwise, I just show it at work.
But you do have pictures up every day.
Every day.
Because I follow that.
Every single day.
Like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be up writing and beep. I get a notification that John has just posted something in Mocan Miniature Painters. And I'm like, streak's on.
Today will be. I haven't done it yet. Okay. It's the afternoon of of Tuesday. Let's say what day, right? It's the afternoon, so I won't be painting until tonight. Typically, it's in the evening.
Right.
And that's an interesting story about that, too, in a minute. But so today is day 2,239.
So for 2,239 days, you have done at least a half an hour of painting or a half an hour of hobby.
Yeah, so the Grand Council, consisting of the same 3 people I originally referred to, arbitrates rules sniveling. Hey, I looked at a picture of somebody else painting. Is that kind of no? But it is liberal in terms of, let's say somebody first asked way early on, is getting my hobby room organized, or building something in my hobby room. Sure, because that's got to get done, and it really enables my paint projects build, and I just leave the paints out, and I have an ever decreasing. You seen that meme where the guy's got 6 inches square of space?
Yep.
That happens over time. You just got to kind of stop and go, no, put everything back, get out that one project, make it all nice and neat, and that should count. I mean, it takes at least half an hour to do.
I am that guy.
Yeah. So building something, rebasing something, which happens to me all the time. They keep changing they keep changing the rules on me.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what it is.
That's my party line. I'm looking at you, old world. Yeah. I'm not doing it either, by the way. So you have, and also learning a new skill.
Right.
you know. And so there's a couple of times where folks on when they traveled, you know, they would watch a video on how to employ a airbrush, or they watch a video about non-metallic metals or objective source lighting, or you know, how to fix a 3D printer, whatever. And that's cool.
Absolutely.
What people want is to, you know, just keep their role rolling.
They're furthering their.
I try to have it always be paint touches an object.
Ah.
I do. So even if I clean my paint room, I'm going to put like a dot of flesh on somebody's nose, some crap, usually more than that. And it's not always just a half an hour.
Sure.
Particularly the closer to an event I get.
You know what I mean? I have seen you go for a couple of hours, like at Adepticon, like late in the evening when we're sitting around, we've got a scotch in our hands.
Yeah. Well, and the conversation is good. And
conversation is good. And we're just painting.
But it's also the night before we played the second to last game we've played of Napoleonics. I'm trying to build the order of battle for Quatre-Bras, the battle before Waterloo. Mm-hmm. The Allied battle, not the Prussian battle before Waterloo.
Right.
And I had fallen behind, and I muscled my way into 2 brigades of British Guards and a leader and a gun. And I was up till, I started in the evening like at 9 or 10, it was up till 4.
Good Lord.
Now, back in the day, before this started, there were times working on, it's like a Flames of War force. I did 2 14-hour days because I just blew it off and said, changed my mind, decided I was going to do it. So that's not a streak thing, but it's at least half. Right. And so I've also found that I really like where it is in my day. Like, for example, I could have knocked it out over lunch today.
Sure.
And that way, when I go back to the house tonight, you know, that's all wrapped up. No, I kind of like it as the last thing I do.
Right.
You know, so I think people probably also sort of find their space. For Baker, it's first thing in the morning, really early in the morning.
Very early in the morning.
Right?
Yeah, he's
when you see his post, it's like
5:30.
5. Yeah. You know, it's the old farm boy in him. So it can't be the Air Force guy. You know, those dicks weren't up that early. So, but a guy who lived in Rantoul, Kansas, I'm sure it's true.
So that was the sound of shots.
The point of all this is it's a challenge for all hobbyists to stay motivated, you know, and whatever works is whatever works. That's the important thing. This worked for me. It changed my painting. I've turned off all my commissioned painters, but one kind of came back, and I just really like him, and we get along. And you know, it's one thing I'm probably not going to do. So I periodically send him some things. So I'm painting everything myself. I've given away, you know, a lot of the stuff that I had painted by other people. So when I've replaced it, it's absolutely worked for me. I got a nice battle rhythm to it. I come home, I get done with my day, I sit down. If I go on a trip, of course, this, you know, 60 days is a challenge, but you know, a weekend, right? A weekend vacation. Went down to the lake this weekend, right? Brought my paint kit, right? Last thing I did, you know, sat down and worked on. Go to the cottage, Maine, you know, sit down and work on. Go on a business trip. You're in the hotel. Go to a game day with Matt Gooch, and you're coming back along whatever the hell, 80, and you paint in a McDonald's while Matt sort of sits in a position to block you from the rest of the restaurant. Not that that's happened.
At 9:30 at night.
At 9:30 at night. No, but speaks live. So you can laugh, buddy, but you did not get to 2,239 days without a little help from your friend.
That was so funny because that weekend we had gone to it was a tournament.
No, it's Tyler Beals,
right? Tyler Beals,
where they're going to have this thing for Hayden.
Yeah, and they had a tournament there, and we had decided Saturday was all over, and we had decided to just come on back
instead of staying there.
Instead of staying there for an extra day to make the trip, and it's about a 6-7 hour.
So instead of having the hotel room to go back to paint in, we were on the road.
It was the car, or it was McDonald's,
right, or whatever. Yeah, some stop.
Right.
Yeah. So Matt graciously kind of maneuvered to reduce the question. What the hell's that guy doing?
What is that guy doing?
Which I would have told him, you know, F off. But you know, he covered me. The light wasn't good.
No,
you know, it's horrible. I have one of those visors with a light attached to it. You know, I have a little case. I've actually broken off the last inch of 3 brushes to fit in my travel case.
Nice.
Yeah. All my special operator friends would understand that. I need another 2/3 of an ounce of weight taken off this pack. I'm going to cut my toothbrush in half. So it's the same stuff, right? I have, you know, there's some cases where certain paints I have double. Right. You know, because they're always black, white, whatever, you know.
Sure.
that you're always going to need for mixing or do things. I've got more than one wet palette.
Right.
I've got a travel wet palette. I might have one also at someone else's house I periodically visit, so I don't have to bring it there. Tricks of the trade. What is it? 7 years, right? It's going to be 7 years this winter.
It will be
6.5 years ish, whatever it is. You don't get there without these little things.
So let's rewind to pre-day one.
All right.
Let's help out our friends who are listening that might think this is a great idea and want to start it. What is your top 2 pieces of advice to get this thing rolling for them?
Well, I think the internal group that we have where we post the picture very much motivates me. That's a check mark. I've done an indicator that I accomplished the thing.
Accountability of some sort.
Some kind of accountability. So if you want to do this in some group of your friends, you're always welcome on Mocam Miniature Painters. I mean, there's a lot of people on there that aren't from Missouri or Kansas.
A lot of people, yeah.
So, but if you have your own group or if you do it there, however you do it, I think the little thing where you go and post #HobbyStreak for other people, what day it is, and then what you did and a little picture of it. And sometimes I organize my paint room. Sometimes that comes with a photo. It might be a link to the video they watched. It might be, a picture of what I did was I built this thing. I built a train piece, right? And showing a train piece. It's not necessarily painting them up,
right?
Which it doesn't have to be. It's hobby streak, not painting streak, right? For a reason. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I know this sounds weird coming from me, but restart. The people that have been successful that dropped on day 10 or day 100 or whatever, that immediately restarted are still cranking out stuff, still overcoming their paint mojo problems. And those people that had a big streak and lost it and didn't restart are back where they started.
And that's me.
Jump back in.
Several hundred days.
Doesn't matter how many times.
Lost it.
Doesn't matter how many times.
Day back up.
One day or day one.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
So day one. So those are the 2 things I would recommend. Don't, be liberal about what it means, but don't weasel out of it. Right? If it's hobby related, it's hobby related. If you feel sketchy about it, it's sketchy.
It's sketchy.
Right?
That's right.
So, but that's defined by the person. We joke about Pat and Brian and Bob make those decisions, and we have a little, star chamber. But really, they're just agreeing to whatever anybody says because everybody wants people to succeed.
Right.
And success is defined by the hobbyist, not by some group or something.
Right.
So
council.
And I've kept the big long streak going. It's fun to talk about like tonight. Yeah, it's great. It's not what's important. What's important is I had 7 people commission painting for me. I was not painting my own stuff. Right. Now I am painting everything myself, with Father Joe as an exception because he's awesome. And I have to figure out what to send him. I don't know what to send him next. So you have that feeling of accomplishment. These are mine.
Right.
And I'm not the greatest painter in the world. And you think after 2,230 days would be a lot better than when I started. I'm not. I'm not. I'm impatient for one thing.
Yeah.
Right. Some of these great painters will take like that. We saw a recipe for non-metallic copper.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was posted somewhere. 7 paints. 1 part of the model. No. Okay. That's just not me. I'm not going to be able to do it. Right. I know you, Aaron, all the people better than I am, that's awesome. I'm also not, except for free blades, I'm painting 100 model army.
That's right.
Typically, right? Or I'm painting UFOs for Billion Suns, and it's just a saucer. So it should be up to the person. If it's helping you, it's helping you. If it's not, abandon it. Right. But it has allowed me to just, I got my own. I rolled right into when Erdogar Ruin came. We got our production models. I had the place all set up, and hobby space is important. Not everybody has it.
Right.
Making a kit. I don't have one of these, Aaron Newell specials. It's like James Bond was a painter. He shakes the thing and everything pops out. There's a light, a glass of scotch, cigar, whatever. I don't have that. I get a plain old case. You buy it at Walmart. You put a couple of cut down brushes in it. You get a wet palette can be a piece of plastic from the ice tub in a hotel room.
Nice. Yeah.
right?
Damn.
Put a little drop of water on it, put a little piece of paint on it, mix them together, right? Get it on the desk so the nice lady that cleaned up your room doesn't get mad at you, right? You have to tip extra. The little things like that,
Right.
And so I would just put your own mark on the wall, and don't be discouraged about the streak breaking. The streak's not the point. The point is to have a way to share with your friends how it is you're going to overcome the doldrums that will affect all of us.
Right. And we would absolutely foster that on the Discord. If somebody
Sure, if we want to do a channel, yes,
yeah,
sure, yeah.
We'd be more than.
As you can tell, Bob, we don't have a channel limit on Discord.
We certainly don't.
We just crap them daily. Get those dice math guys off my. What are they on? All things fail on. Get the dice math guys to a dice math channel. I'm not making fun. I'm a statistician. I've taken, I don't know, a dozen statistics courses as part of Intel analysis.
I was just going to an analyst.
So I make decisions based on those things.
Right.
So don't take it personally, but certainly from somebody who wanted to open a channel, we do that. A Hobby Street channel.
Let us know. Yeah,
we'll do it.
Sure. Yeah. Sent that in the comments in the Sleeping Grush Discord channel.
Yep.
Or on the YouTube, where if you're watching this on YouTube,
right? Yep.
Instead of listening to it on one of the normal podcast panels. Folks, that's it for today. Jon, thank you very much for sharing that with us. It really is inspirational. Even though I haven't been able to keep up, it's very inspirational to see these folks' counts go up and to see them day after day churning out individual pieces that turn into armies.
Yes.
Which is incredible. It's awesome.
Yep.
So folks, thank you very much for being with us today. And until we see you or you hear us the next time, we'll see you around the table.
Sil Sakava.